What's up, everybody? Just got back from seeing M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Trap, so let's talk about it. The first thing I want to talk about, obviously, is the lead actor and main character, played by Josh Hartnett, Cooper, also known as the Butcher, in the movie. He was fantastic. He was the standout when it came to acting. To me, he had to balance the entire movie, between a regular suburban dad and then living this second life as a serial killer. And I felt like he did a fantastic job doing that and was really the standout of this movie. And throughout the movie, obviously, when the police are looking for him throughout the entire concert, you can tell he had more of a grasp on both of those personalities in the beginning. But then as the movie, continues and they kind of start to get a little bit of a tail on him, and he's trying to get away, that starts to unravel. And then when he has to be the suburban dad, it just comes off as very awkward and forced, and you could kind of tell he's unraveling. And I thought Harnett did a great job balancing that, and it was a great performance from him. And then to follow that up, I also thought the girl who played his daughter Riley was also fantastic. Fantastic. She was actually more of the heart of the movie, and she was kind of the character representation of the audience, where really out of anyone in this entire arena, she was the only one throughout the movie that would look at him and be like, "Hey, Dad, what's going on? You're acting strange." Like, basically the way when he would act weird and do these things, to try to plan an escape, she was the only one that noticed and called him out on it. So, like I said, she kind of represented the audience in the movie. But yeah, she was more the heart of the film. Obviously, their relationship was the heart of the film, and what was kind of the motivation behind why he wanted to escape from getting caught, by the police at the concert and everything. And, even the little moments throughout the concert with his daughter, he wanted to, you could just tell he genuinely wanted to be a good dad to her and, do stuff for her. I won't spoil anything, but, he wants her to have a great time there. And that comes through with their relationship. And then, like most M. Night Shyamalan movies, this movie just has a great premise. You guys all saw it in the trailer. It's a movie where Josh Hartnett, he's a serial killer. He goes to a concert, and the police are setting up a trap for him to try and catch him. That in itself is a very interesting concept. And then, with M. Night Shyamalan movies, we're usually accustomed to twists, like a big twist at the end. That's typically how it goes, either positively or negatively. Sometimes they're not great, sometimes they are. But in this movie, they kind of put the big twist, in the trailer, in the marketing, right at the beginning of the movie, right? So you're not really looking forward to that throughout the movie. Just the concept alone has you interested and has you wanting more, right? So we're not. This is the first time in a Shyamalan movie in forever where I was thinking to myself, like, I'm not really looking for that twist. I'm not expecting a twist because they kind of put it right in front and center at the beginning of the movie. And I've seen some people say that that's a spoiler, but to me, that's not, right? It's the premise. And to me, that was a great way for Shyamalan to subvert expectations and just kind of put it front and center and start off the movie that way. And for my final positive, I'm probably going to be in the minority on this. I actually think the third act is the best part of this movie. I've watched some reviews since I didn't get to see it on opening day when it came out, and that's what a lot of people have complained about is the third act. But to me, I actually think the third act is the best part of the movie and where it gets the most interesting and where the stakes are at the highest. So, like I said, I'm in the minority, but I enjoyed the way that this movie ended. So I walked out of the theater, actually being happy with what I had just saw. So even though overall I had a positive experience, I can definitely admit there are a lot of problems with this movie. This is definitely not a perfect movie. And kind of to piggyback off of my last positive with the third act, even though I thought the third act was the best part of the movie, it also committed the fault of feeling like it was going to end on like three separate occasions, right? I don't mind it when, sometimes a movie will make you think that the movie's going to end and then it kind of twists away and continues and then it ends, later on. But this movie literally did it three times. There was three separate times where I thought to myself, okay, the movie's about to wrap up. That was pretty good. And then it just kept going. Now, for the first couple times, I didn't mind that because, like I said, I was enjoying what they were doing in that third act. But really, by the time you get to the end of the movie, and they do it again, you're just like, holy crap. You know, how's this movie going to continue? We've already hit three different endings and we're still going. So that was definitely a big problem I had with it. It did feel like it dragged on a little bit longer than it needed to at the end. And then also to piggyback off of that, the I talked about how this was a great concept for the movie with the concert being a trap to catch him. I felt like that was the worst part of the movie. I don't feel like they took that concept and executed it properly in those first two acts. A lot of it was boring. There wasn't really a lot going on. Nothing in the way of character development or finding out, how this whole thing was orchestrated or, the backstory on Josh Hartnett. Really, everything doesn't start, coming into its own until that third act. And then by that point, we're kind of already at the end of the concert. And I'm like, okay, well, that concept then really wasn't executed the way it could have been. The way we thought in our head that was such an interesting idea, it wasn't really executed great. And that was a little disappointing because, again, that was the whole concept that this movie was sold to me on and what I was excited about. So again, even though I was positive on it, that was pretty disappointing that it was like that. And then also, outside of the main two leads of Cooper and Riley, the acting in this movie was not great at all. And honestly, even those two characters had some moments where I was like, oh, that was a little rough. And that's kind of a typical thing in Shyamalan movies, but the dialogue delivery, the reactions of some of the actors, there was a lot of moments where I'm like, oof, that was that was really kind of cheesy, and I don't like to put that on a movie too often, but man, there was some bad acting in this movie. And then to piggyback off that, the main woman at the concert, who the artist they're going to see, is actually M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. And she kind of gets introduced into the story and is involved in the story in the third act. And yeah, I thought she was god awful. Really not a great actor. I know she's an artist in real life. So, she was there as the artist in the concert, and, she seems talented there. But acting wise, no, not at all. That was my biggest, nitpick of the third act was her acting specifically. But good old nepotism in Hollywood, daughter of the director, and you end up with a bigger role in the movie than you probably should have gotten. So, yeah, didn't think we were going to talk about that, but it's definitely a big negative for me. And then my final, mixed negative thing about this movie is you really have to suspend your disbelief in this film. There are a lot of moments where Josh Hartnett's character in particular, definitely would have been caught, but he finds a way to get out, and it's just like, oh my god. And not even just that, in certain moments where he's going to get caught, just his behavior, the fact, like I talked about earlier, that nobody thinks it's suspicious or thinks it's weird. They just allow him to continue with the concert experience in his day, when clearly he fits certain descriptions, and then, he's just acting very strange and is in places he shouldn't be. And yeah, it's just, you really have to suspend disbelief in a lot of scenarios in this movie. But yeah, so overall, guys, like I said, definitely not a perfect movie. It has a lot of faults. But to me, Josh Hartnett has a great performance in this film, and the third act does enough to redeem the movie, to make it a positive experience for me. Definitely not one of M. Night Shyamalan's best, but definitely up a few levels from his worst films. So I had a good time with it, but it's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. On a rating, I would probably give it about a 3.25 out of 5. So yeah, if you guys have seen Trap already, go ahead and comment below what you thought about it. Let me know. And yeah, have a great day.